were, expanding production, simultaneously. So we had made more and more slots available. So I think, it depends on who you talk to, but we're coming out of that quite a bit. As you see, the Port of Los Angeles is not as backed up as it was, a year ago.
So I heard that Battle Motors is intending to disrupt the truck business. So you are planning to be the Elon Musk of the truck refuse. So what's your game plan?
I would it's a perfectly suited application. Electric is for waste management for refuse. It is. It's it's typically under 150 miles for a route. There's a lot of starting and stopping, right? And so you get a lot of good regen. So it's the plan is right now about 5% of our production is electric. We do a lot of CNG here in California. We do a lot of diesel trucks throughout all across the United States. And I more consider myself the Bruno Mars, and he's kind of like the Justin Timberlake. So I think we'll see who lasts longer, as this goes. But the plan is really on the solid waste and on the refuse side to bring a lot of the advancements that other trucking and the other sectors of mobility have in place. So, for example, this is our chief software officer, Paul Marsland, right here. We now have T-Mobile in every one of our trucks for free. So your truck is connected. Every truck we put out has T-Mobile in it. Every truck has a digital dash that has data, location. You have the ability to load a route into your truck, so you don't have to pay for that extra, right? Every truck has standard ADAS, so you don't have that as an add-on charge. So we once again, coming from the battery space, looking at all the applications that could go electric, right? Refuse is the number one. It's a perfect application.
So it's free, but you don't have to pay T-Mobile for the service?
No, we pay T-Mobile.
You pay T-Mobile.
We pay T-Mobile. You don't have to pay.
For the life of the truck?
For the life, which is typically in the refuse like 8 to 10 years. So we have a national global deal with T-Mobile.
Okay, that's good to know. So what percentage of the new trucks, I know in the city of Los Angeles, we have a mandate to begin converting our trucks into electric. We have about 10,000 you have to do in the next 10, 15 years. What percent of the EV trucks you envision going to be by 2030?
By what year?
2030.
So our goal for 2023, it'll be 15% of all the trucks we manufacture will be electric. Okay. So as by 2030, I think after you get the first, everyone gets the first 5, then they get 10, then they get 100, right? It'll go very, very fast. So by 2030, I think we'll be, for you, Los Angeles, I think you guys will be there by 2030. It could happen.
That's our goal. We're trying to host the Olympics in 2028. So with a large portion of our fleet, we're hoping will be electric by that time, and hopefully they work. So can you tell us about the unique Revolution dashboard technology that Battle is using?
Yeah, and this is another kind of it's a fortunate thing that happened with the supply chain. As we were trying to get gauges and dials for the truck, we did discover that we can get a flat screen that is very ruggedized for less than the cost of all the dials and gauges that you put on a truck. Okay, so we incorporated in first an 8x6 flat screen that's mountable right on the dash. And we've hence moved to a larger flat screen, but having the connectivity, having the battery data, doing over-the-air software updates to the truck, which is nothing new. I mean, this has been going on, and this has been going on in the market a long time. There's no reason refuse shouldn't have it, right? And then, as I mentioned, the route loading. What the service and fleet managers and maintenance managers love the most is that they can click on a button on the flat screen and see the entire BOM or bill of material on that truck. They can see every part that truck has on it without having to get a little key fob out or go to a manual. They can see what's on that truck. They can see all the service history on that truck. Okay. So when it comes in for repairs, okay, they're delighted. Let's put it that way. They're very, very happy to have that data at their fingertips. The fleet managers are very, very happy because depending on how they grant access, they can see where the truck is during the day. They can see where it's been. They can see how many times the truck has stopped, right? If a customer calls in and says, well, you never came by my house today, okay? In Q1 2023, right around the corner, we will be able to say, well, actually we were. Here's a picture, right? You didn't have your trash can out. So the cameras are already on the truck with the ADAS, right? And the dash is in, the data is there, and I'm really excited to see what else you guys are looking for to be incorporated into these trucks.
Wow. Okay. So what are your overall impression of the solid waste industry? You come from the outside, you're looking in. What's your impression?
I absolutely love it. The only thing that I'm struggling with in the solid waste is the bourbon drinking. The bourbon, which I was just joking, but there is at most of these waste management events, bourbon seems to be the drink here of choice, and so I'm trying to get there. I'm more of a Guinness guy myself, but they're just great people. A lot of family business in city and state, just like there is in the police departments and also in fire departments. A lot of families go into the business, right? It's a great business with really hardworking people who have, per the mayor, pretty much the most important job in the city, right? You don't move the trash, there's going to be a phone call, right? And if you don't move it again, it's going to stack up and it's going to cause a huge freaking problem, right? So they're very mission-oriented people, which I like. Consider myself the same way, but also, just great people to, hang around a barbecue with too.
I was hoping more for an operation perspective. If you saw something like these are improved, but so on the refuse operation, we rank 10 of the most dangerous jobs in the U.S. I hear you have a partnership coming in with SWANA. Can you share some of that information of us about how you plan to make it a safer operation?
How we're planning on making it safer? Well,
Yes.
so with number one, with the testing that we do with our trucks before we put them out, and then the inspection process, okay, we've added an extra 10 steps to our safety and to our inspection, okay, on every single truck that goes out. In addition, okay, with the standard ADAS, okay, we're making the truck safer for pedestrians, okay, and anyone who's around the truck. And with a lot of the body companies, I'd say at least the top 4 body companies, they have cameras and the ability to make it a safer environment too. What we're not changing in the truck is the steel cab, okay, the very robust chassis, okay, that we've been standing behind, for 75 years. Okay, so we have what we consider one of the safest trucks out there already. Okay, and when it comes to driver safety, we're not going to change anything. Okay, we have some of our competition they're trying to, because they're having payload issues. We can stay steel and still have the same payload with a battery pack as you have with a CNG truck. Okay, so when we're thinking about our drivers and we're thinking about safety, we're already in a great environment. What we're trying to do is make the driver more comfortable, because it's harder to get drivers. Okay, so we're keeping a focus on safety because we've got it right, but then simultaneously adding some comfort, because that's what the drivers are looking for these days.
Okay. So we've seen many companies come and go. They promise a lot of electric vehicles, and we, as municipalities, we have to watch the money that our ratepayers trust in us. So if I'm a city, I want to do a demo for with ballot trucks. What is the process that I, as a city, has to go through, and how long can I keep it for a demo?
Okay, so it depends on what your use case is, And for most use cases, you can come see anyone at this table, or come see me after the show. We can get a truck to your body company on the EV side within 60 days. I don't know how long it's going to take the body company to put it on there. To put the body on, we'll get you a truck. You can have it for 3 months. Okay. Full demo, full support, full over the air updates. We will come in, and not only that, we will also give you a little charging infrastructure. Okay. So we have a little charger that will charge your truck overnight. Okay. So it's very easy to give it a try. Okay. And to say it even to make it even simpler. So as you know, we have trucks in Santa Monica right now, right? We're working with the city of Los Angeles right now also. We have trucks in New York. We have trucks in Newark. Okay. And 15 or 16 other major municipalities. It is very easy to get started and try a truck. Okay. If you got 220, right, we can get you a charger that, that anyone's kids here can hook up. It's very simple, and you can get tested. So, but yeah, I encourage you to give it a shot.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about Battle Motors Capitals? How does this change how customers can buy trucks?
It's not so much for municipalities, but for Battle Motors Capital, it is a finance arm that we now have. So if you don't want to roll out $300,000 for an electric truck, okay, if you'd rather make payments, you can pay $5,000 a month or something similar to that for 5 years, right? So you don't have to come off all the cash up front. A lot of the companies, a lot of corporations, right, who are outside of California, because there's great incentives in California, there's great incentives in New York City, right? But if you're outside of those areas and you want to go electric, it can be cost prohibitive versus a diesel, of course, right? So we stood up the financial arm so you can have a payment plan and still get into an electric vehicle.
I know we have a lot of questions from the audience, so I want to turn it over. Michael or Nick, there you go. If anybody would like to ask a question, please raise your hand and Nick will bring it over to you. Back there. Sorry.
Yes, could you talk about the useful life and possible recycling of the batteries after their intended use?
Great question. So for a typical truck that's going to run 228 hours a day, 220 days a year, you're looking at a battery life of around 8 years on the low end, as much as 12 years, okay, on the high end to keep in service. Then, of course, you still, because of the application, and depending if you slow charge or fast charge, if you're slow charging that, right, it's got a great second life. And if you're interested in exploring that further, there is a great nationwide company called Heritage Environmental that will come pick up the battery, okay, or repurpose the battery, or help you even, use that battery, at your facility.
Over that 8 years, what is the degradation of the battery in terms of percentage of maximum output?
Over the 8 years, let's just say you're doing a combination of slow and fast charging, right? I'd say about 60%. With a combination of charging. Okay.
Any questions? If I may ask you one more. I don't see any hands. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to stand up. Judy. All right.
I guess, what do you see as the biggest impediment of where we are now to where we need to go? You said there's not supply chain problems, but we have a lot of cities that are anxious to do this, but they want to know who, what, when, where, why, and how quickly can that be done?
I'd say it's not globally, but in the state. Let me put it for the state of California. It's frustration with getting the infrastructure set up to support the vehicles. Okay. Depending upon your utility company and depending upon the need for capacitors, okay, and other infrastructure, right? And permitting, right? You can either get into business really quickly, okay, or it can take a very, very long time, right? And in a benefit, a real benefit of being in let's just say the Midwest is that even though they don't have the incentives, their power companies move quickly, right? Problem is out here, there is such a demand, right, for, you know, EV, right? And that you may have to wait a little bit, but there are ways around that. There are other ways to get the charging infrastructure that you need. So what you really, if you have plans to go electric, you should put in your request to the power companies now. Start the permitting right now. Start with a little, you know, 20 kb or 25 or 30 kb system that'll go off 220, and just schedule the install, because you might need that kind of a, you know, kind of a head start.
Thank you. Good morning. We heard yesterday that some of the EV trucks were having difficulty with a full load of trash going like uphill. So they were just being used for recycling, which was a lighter load. Are you experiencing anything like that with your vehicles?
Not at all. None whatsoever. And by the way, if you've heard of the Diesel Brothers, and we have some other videos, we've done tests against diesels. Okay, uphill, downhill, tug of wars, races. I mean, you're there. There's absolutely. I'm sorry, I missed that. There's no problem going uphill with a load or without a load whatsoever.
Good morning, Carlos de la Torre, City of Tucson. I'm going to talk to you separately so I can get a refund because the cost of the truck that you just advertised 300 is not what we got it from, but that's besides the note, that the comment. So have you considered really providing some sort of a technical assistance, just like you provide fleet services assistance to the shops in terms of really how to best deploy? You know what you need, you know what infrastructure may be needed, maybe doing some sort of facility assessment, working with the power companies, so that way we're not starting from scratch, and maybe what the other experience that you have essentially learned from other cities and maybe in the region, be able to put some of that information together and some of that support. Have you considered that by any chance?
I mean, that's a very good idea, and we're doing quite a bit as you may know in Arizona, right? I mean, Scottsdale, right, and in Phoenix, right, and you know, and by the way, since you asked the question, batteries work great in that in those high temperatures. We ran I believe almost 170 miles at 110 degrees, and it could be 110 degrees at night in Arizona, right, which is crazy. But so we're right now helping as much as we can with incentives, right, with ROI plans. So if let's just say that anyone who reaches out to me and they have to present to the city council, or you have to present to your boss and say, this is how I need, the boss will say, justify spending this extra money. Okay. We will pull it up what you are paying for electricity in your state, okay, or your city, okay, versus the price of diesel, right, and give you an ROI. We'll give you a total cost of ownership proposal that you can take in, okay, and depending upon where you are and your price for energy, okay, it could be a big win, especially with the price of diesel these days, right? So we are really, we have a partnership with Positive Energy, which does the installation. They'll come do the site survey and others, but yeah, I'll come find you afterwards. We can see if we can talk about anything else that may be helpful. Okay.
Oh,
You're fast. So you talked about heat. How about 20 below zero? How do they work in that environment?
You know, that's just on the Celsius. So you're so yeah, I mean, obviously we have a little heater involved in the battery pack, right? But extreme temperatures, you know, getting very, very low, it's not a friend. It's not friendly, right? But you know, if you run it and you run it with a heater, which we have as an option, you know, if you got it like a diesel truck, you never had to plug it in the morning. If you remember those days, right? We do have a heater. If you do get it warm, it will work well when it's out in the field. Okay. We do have that option available. However, not selling a lot when you're, you know, minus 40, right? Not a big market.
What's your estimated distance with a full payload of a trash truck? Where you guys projecting right now distance on a battery, a full charge battery?
So, I mean, that's a complicated question because it depends on how many starts and stops you're making, right? And you know, what speed you're going, right? But a very comfortable 120 miles, okay, with a full load, all right, and let's say 500 stops, right? Depends, of course, if you're out there on the highway and you're going. We like the highway, by the way. Okay, if you have to go out and go a distance to a dump, that's fantastic. Okay. If you have, I will share this, one of the big myths, because we've done over 100 city surveys of routes, okay, where a lot of the drivers think that their trucks, you know, are going 120, 150 miles a day, right? The average route is right around 65 miles a day per truck, right? And this is very easy for you to figure out with just a cell phone. Drop it into one of your trucks without that much of advanced technology. A 100-mile route, you do not even need a 400 kilowatt hour battery pack if you're looking to save money. Okay. You can use a 200, a 240 at that with the regen will more than cover your route. And so I'm glad you asked. So first look, very easy, or we will do it for you. Paul right here at this table can do it. Look at your routes. We will measure how far your trucks are going. There's no charge for that. Okay. Then we will size the correct battery pack for your truck. And why is that important? Not just for us, but for others. You're looking at $300, sometimes with our competition, $400 per kilowatt hour in additional cost per truck, right? By going with a bigger battery pack. So you want to size your pack correctly for your distance.
Okay, one more question? And
So in Albuquerque, we have a unique situation where we go 26 miles up a hill. So I'd love for you to come and do your study in our city, because our city is unique and it causes a problem going up a hill 26 miles one way and then the other way. So I just would like to invite you to come.
Yeah, let's talk afterwards. All right.
all right, well, that's all the time we have today. Michael, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.